That Reef Show.
That Reef Show.
This is That Reef Show.
This is Chad. He's an expert. This is me. I am not an expert. Listen to Chad.
Well, let's do this. I have quite a few things I want to talk to you about. But first of all, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do for Reed Mariculture?
Yeah, so my name is Chad Clayton. I work for Reed Mariculture. We make a product line called Reef Nutrition and another one for aquaculture called Instant Algae. And I'm involved in quite a few aspects here at the farm. Primarily, when I came on about 12 years ago, I was brought on to grow copepods for the company. And I have a lot of experience in aquaculture. I've worked for oceans, reefs, and aquariums, breeding clownfish and a number of marine ornamentals. I worked out in Hawaii doing food fish. And so a lot of those jobs required live feed organisms. And so I got a lot of experience with that and came to work for the Reeds.
All right. So today's topic, now you have to remember, you're talking to me and my audience is beginners. And I remember the last time we chatted, you dropped a butt ton of science on me and it just went way over my head. All right. So you're going to have to dumb it down for me today. But we want to talk about refugiums, why they're good, how to set them up, different kinds of pods, so on and so forth. Let's start with why should somebody, a beginner, consider setting up a refugium? What are the benefits of setting up a refugium in their tank?
You know, one of the primary benefits that I've noticed in the hobby over the years and what people prefer to do when setting up a refugium is to house things like macroalgae. It acts as a natural filter. It will strip out nitrogenous waste, so nitrate, nitrite, ammonia, and they also pull out phosphates out of the water, and they use these compounds to grow. And so as the macroalgae grows, you can trim it. You know, you can cut the biomass in half, remove the macroalgae, you know, toss it in the garbage, toss it in your garden, let it decompose, and then the macroalgae continues to grow and absorb nutrients and you know, rinse and repeat, so to speak. Along those lines, you know, macroalgae is a great habitat for organisms like copepods.
Do you have any recommendations for a simple setup of like the things they should buy in order to have success?
Basically, what you want to do is if you have a brand new tank, you don't want to add any pods right off the bat. You want to let the tank cycle a little bit, even if you're adding bacteria. You want to let things like algae, there's certain, you know, species of algae that come along as you're cycling a tank, as the tank is growing and aging. Wait to see some of that algae growing in the tank. And a refugium needs habitat. You know, it can't just be a bare tank with nothing in it. You most certainly need habitat. So good habitat options are macroalgae, live macroalgae. It helps to have a light over the refugium, and some people will do 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and you know, give the macroalgae plenty of light to grow. And then as far as other habitat, there's artificial structures that you can put in there. What you want to do is you want to pay attention to a porous type of artificial structure. So rocks, even if they're artificial rocks or if they're rocks that came off of a reef or, you know, out of the ocean that were bleached, as long as they're very porous and they provide a lot of surface area for those animals to get inside of, reproduce, you know, their babies can grow in there, and it also just provides, you know, a really cool habitat for them, and they can get in there and eat detritus, eat organic waste. And so those, you know, and then obviously adding the copepods.
Okay, so I have a 120-gallon system, and I have a refugium set up. There's a good habitat there. For a 120-gallon system, is there some sort of ratio that I should be like, I should get this much to at least begin stocking the tank?
This is one of the hardest questions because biologically all tanks are different. And so, you know, typically, you know, if you're looking at like 100 gallons or less, you know, one bottle of each would be fine of those animals, especially, you know, and this is assuming you have no predators, you're starting off fresh. They have, you know, a blank check, so to speak. They can just populate and go crazy. Then, yeah, you know, only a couple of bottles would be fine into the refugium.
So I get my shipment. I have everything set up. They arrive in the mail. Do I need to do anything special to introduce them? Turn off the pumps, acclimate? I mean, what do I have to do?
So we ship all of our copepods cold. And that just slows them down metabolically. They don't consume all the oxygen in the bottle in the very small volume of water that we put them in. You're gonna allow them to warm up. You do not need to float them in the tank like you would a fish or a coral to temperature acclimate. You don't need to do that. You can just simply set them, near the tank or on a counter somewhere with the caps. You can just take off the cap completely or pop the cap, and that just allows for gas exchange. And then after they warm up, and this doesn't take that long, maybe an hour, maybe a couple hours. So then adding them. And so there's a couple of strategies here. So if you're just adding them to Refugium, you can add them at any time of day. You don't need to turn anything off because, typically a Refugium is a very calm environment. There's no fish in there, no predators, nothing that's going to wipe them out instantly. And so adding them to a Refugium, you can do that any time of day. I know some people that will actually submerge the bottle and stick it right into the rock, and the pods just crawl out of the bottle right into the rock.
We have the pods in, we've introduced them, and now we want them to thrive. We want them to reproduce because we don't want to necessarily have to get a new shipment in every week. We like to be able to make as much as we can. So how do we make sure that they have long-term success?
It really helps to have a Refugium for long-term success of zooplankton. A Refugium is a great place to feed those organisms. So to really get them to populate better, to do better, you just need to feed them more. They do really well if they're fed a lot of phytoplankton. Our customers do is they use our Phyto Feast, which is our 6-species blend of phytoplankton, the most concentrated on the market. And what they'll do is they'll feed the Refugium instead of the display.
So we're talking a once a day sort of feeding?
Yes, it is most valuable to feed small amounts multiple times a day. We recommend 1 teaspoon per 100 gallons. They'll take that and cut it in half and do a half a teaspoon in the morning, half a teaspoon in the evening.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I know I learned a ton, and thank you for not using all that scientific jargon. I could tell at times you really wanted to, but then you were thinking, no, I'm just going to use simple words here. So I appreciate that. Okay, well, I appreciate your time. We're approaching the 45-minute Zoom limit because I don't have the fancy Zoom account. So
okay, perfect.
All right, well,
that worked out great.
You have a big work day, so I really appreciate it, Chad. Seriously, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll chat later.
Okay. Adios.
All right, bye. We have a ton of stuff for mail time. I've been saving it up to try to space it out like over the week so that I had a mail time segment for every single episode, but it's just become too much and I need to put it away. My whole living room has become cluttered and it's time to just organize it and move it out to the garage. So we're gonna do all of the mail time stuff that I haven't opened yet. So let's see what we got. I know exactly what this is. Can anybody guess? These are the long 4-foot segments. It's just Schedule 40. But it's red Schedule 40, and it's going on the 40-gallon tank with the MD Elite sump. So I think the red will look super nice. I always buy at least 1 extra, so I got 3 of them. Should be enough. Cool. I like Schedule 80 when it comes to fittings, tees, all that stuff, because I like the color. So I got all my Schedule 80 fittings, plumbing gear, silicone. I try to buy 1 or 2 extra of everything because I find I always screw something up. But just price point wise, if you're wondering, like, how much does all this stuff cost? This is about $200 worth. So it's not cheap. And the things that are expensive are like the unions and the gate valves and stuff like that. Schedule 80 T's and elbows are only like, a few bucks. So I got this mystery box in the mail, actually 2 mystery boxes. And I was like, what the heck is it? Because I didn't order anything. This is a brand new RODI filter. It's not even on the website yet, but Marine Depot is going to be selling this. This is the Aquamax line, but this is designed by Puritech. So some of you may actually own these systems, but they're not Aquamax systems. They're Puritech systems. But I got 2 boxes that day, right? Look at this. How many RODI filters does a guy need? This is the regular 100 gallons per day. It comes with 4 stages. What's that? A boost, not a booster pump. It comes with a pressure gauge. But this one is the advanced, and this comes with like super fancy TDS meter, a booster pump, a pressure gauge, automatic shut off, automatic flush valve. Okay. I've never used it, but I have a friend, an Instagram buddy, Aquarium Works. You can check him out, aquarium.works. He lives in Riverside County like me, and he has been doing servicing for, I believe, over 20 years, so he knows his stuff. He recommends this, Miracle Mud. I've never used it. I'm going to use it as a substrate in the Refugium. It's a 10-pound bag. Okay. Rubble zone. Yes, I think this is going to be really helpful for like denitrifying, but I don't have a nitrate problem, so I'm really going to use this for a home for my copepods that are coming next week, and not only that, but as a place to attach my macroalgae to. So I got a whole thing of rubble zone, a 1-inch Schedule 80 gate valve, definitely the most expensive plumbing piece out of everything, but if you're going to be doing a bean animal or a Herbie style overflow, which I'm going to be doing a Herbie, essential. These gate valves are so much better at accomplishing a silent overflow than a ball valve because you can do really micro adjustments. Worth the money, spend the money on them. Seriously, they're good. Oh, brand new, I'm excited. Ready? Ice Caps Pod Hotel. I really want to populate my 120 gallon, so we are going to put this down in the Refugium, and then I don't know how often, maybe once a week, maybe once every other week, we're gonna pick it up and place it in the display tank, give it a little shaky to give the fish some food and also to hopefully populate these in the display tank as well. I've used it before. I'm gonna add this along with the rubble rock, which I already showed you, and this is gonna go down into the new Refugium section. Good for denitrating, but I think also will provide a good home for copepods. 1-inch plastic hose clamps. By the way, if you've ever tried to find these at a big box store, it is impossible. Like, nobody sells these. They only sell metal hose clamps. So I recommend, if you're doing your own plumbing job or you're setting up a new tank, just buy a butt ton of these. And they're so cheap. Buy them in different sizes and just store them up because you want to use these anywhere there's salt water because the metal ones will corrode over time. What's in here? I have no idea. Brightwell's Microbacter Quick Cycle for fishless cycling. Obviously, I'm going to be using this in the 40 gallon, but not only that, I also have been storing in the 120 gallon a Brightwell Bio Brick, and I'm going to move that over, and that should really jumpstart the whole process. So this is the ammonia, this is the food, and then you add the Microbacter Start XLM, which is the bacteria, and it feeds off the food. I've used Dr. Tim's method, but I've never used the combination of these two from Brightwell, so I'm excited to see how quickly things cycle with this. This is not for any of these tanks in here, but it's for a new build I'm doing. 10 pounds, Aquamax Eco Rock. Oh, this is lovely. Here's what it's like a cute little 10-pound box, but it's perfect for a 10-gallon tank, which is what I'm going to use it for. Look at all these pieces. These are great. Oh, these are awesome. Smallish, but I can put them together. Really good. I mean, if you're doing a big tank, 10 pounds is not going to be enough, and you want bigger pieces than this. But if you're just doing a small 10-gallon tank like me, this is going to be perfect. Well, that's mail time for this episode. I don't know if it's episode 5, 6, or 7. If you have anything that you want featured, we love trying out new products. Just email us, contact@thatreefshow.com. I really hope I don't screw this up. All goes well, today's project really shouldn't take very long. I have this 40-gallon breeder tank back here. This isn't anything fancy. I got it at like the $1 per gallon sale at PetSmart or Petco. I've had it for several years. Really inexpensive, like $50 during that sale. So I'm not too worried even if I do break it. But we're going to be installing this MD Elite Overflow box. I've never drilled a tank before, but I watched like 5 YouTube videos yesterday, so I feel pretty confident that I know how to do it. It looks actually really easy, and I don't think it should take long at all. The most confusing part is how to install this, because I watched some videos and there aren't a lot of good directions with this, and I think it's missing a gasket. I'll fill you in more on that when we get outside, but I've already ordered an extra gasket. It cost me like $1.50 for a pack of 4, so it's really not a big deal. But you'll probably want to know if you are looking to do this yourself. So we're going to make this into a 2-part video, right? Today we're going to be drilling this overflow, and then the second part of the video is going to be the installing the hard plumbing on the MD Elite sump by Trigger Systems. This is overkill, okay? Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Installing a sump of this size on a 40-gallon breeder tank is complete overkill. But since I have the sump, why not? You know, I have this Aquamax HOB that I could just put on here and call it good. But since I have the opportunity, I might as well. Yeah, I do have to spend a couple $100s for the plumbing, but other than that, this thing is going to be a high-end quarantine tank and a high-end frag tank that hopefully should last me for a lot of years to come. And if anything ever happens to the tank itself, no big deal. You know, I can just disconnect the plumbing, buy a new 40-gallon breeder tank because it's a standard size, and then just keep this thing going. By the way, in case you're looking to buy this MD Elite Overflow, it comes with everything you need, almost everything you need. It comes with everything you see here, all the bulkheads. You will probably need to purchase one more, what do you call those plastic rings? Gasket. You'll probably need to purchase one more gasket because mine is either missing one or it doesn't come with enough, because you need you need 3 gaskets, and mine only came with 2 gaskets. But this kit also comes with the guide, so you can just clamp this onto the outside of your tank and drill it. And then it also comes with the diamond tipped drill bit, which fits perfectly into the guide. This should be a fast project. Let's get to work. If at the end of this video, this tank is destroyed, just ignore everything I said. But at the end of this video, if it worked, when you place the guide, you want to double check using the black portion, and you want to make sure it's correct. For example, this tank, this 40-gallon breeder, pretty much all 40-gallon breeders are going to have like a rim on them. And if you place it too high, it might not work. So this has an arrow on it. It says to put the arrow up. But for my uses here, I think it's better sideways. So I measured it. I have a slight gap from the top, which I think will be perfect. The other tricks I learned from watching my videos: use clamps, use blue tape. So you'll see down here, blue tape or duct tape. I use blue tape. Also, you can put a towel on the bottom, which I'm gonna do. That way it will collect the glass just in case it does fall. When it comes to the pump, hold on, let me go grab the pump. Not the pump, the drill. Everything I watch says use a corded drill because it has higher rotation, but I don't have one, so I'm going to use this bad boy. They said it should take 1 to 2 minutes, but they said when you're going through, don't put pressure on it. Just let the weight of the drill itself do the work. So that's what I'm going to do. Not only that, but I'm going to have my wife come out, and she's going to hold this over to keep it wet, to keep things cool. You can also put some plumber's putty around it and just make like a well, fill it with water. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use this. And then, of course, you're dealing with glass, so make sure you wear proper eye protection. Well, if I wasn't filming that, it would have taken me definitely less than an hour. Super easy. I mean, that was so simple to drill. Just watch a couple videos on it. All I need to do is on this back wall here, I'm going to apply some of that black spray-on plastic. And I'm only doing that so that when I'm looking at the tank, which is usually from this direction here, that I don't have to look back at the wall. So it's really not necessary, but I think if I put that black spray on it, it'll just give it a super clean look. And really sort of miraculously turn this 40-gallon, $50 Petco tank into a quarantine beast. Step 1, drill the tank is done. Tune in next episode where we're gonna hard plumb the MD Elite Sump. I'm really bright. Hold on, let me see if I can darken myself a little. Oh, is that better? Holy shit, it worked. It worked! I did it! And we would love, no, I don't know how to end this segment. Like, I'm sitting here, I've been filming this, and I'm like, do I just smile? I mean, do I transition? But the problem is, if I'm going to transition to another segment, I have to know in advance what that segment is. But today is the 27th of June, and this might not come out until the 27th of July. So I really can't transition to be like, hey, and now we're going to go do this, because I don't know what's coming next in the video. So that's mail time. We're done.